Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Leverage Podcast. Today's guest, I am just getting to know a little bit better, but I hear a lot of great things about him. So I'm excited to uncover his story, what business he's doing. It's definitely a business model that we haven't had on the podcast yet. So I'm super excited to understand what that model is and what he's doing out there and how he's changing the game for businesses. So I've got Mr. Bennett Maxwell on here. So Bennett, hey, how are you, first of all? And number two, what do you do and how you make money?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm excited to be on. What I'm currently doing is mostly has been selling franchises. So partnering with companies that will do ad creation to ad management, get the lead, speed to lead. I run all of that through AI and AI calling bot, set the appointment until you have a signed contract. And then you're basically doing a commission split with franchise brands. That's what I'm currently doing. And with the advancements of AI, though, I'm like, okay, I need to automate all of this with AI. Back in February, I think it was, I heard the claim AI can do everything a human could do on a computer. And I'm just like, what? I need to figure that out then. And yeah, 500 hours later, 5 months and 500 hours later, I've tried to study everything. And it's been working like this. It's okay, this is what I do in my business to make money. As soon as I can let go of my $5,000 a month marketing retainer and teach Claude, train it on what they were doing, but not only what they were doing, but how to self-audit every single day, make more content every day, and do these self-improvement loops. Once I've done that, it saves me $5,000 a month. But to implement that, that's just a series of skills, right? It's just a markdown file that's free, plus you need a few tokens to run it. So now you can sell that as an agent. So I've been doing that. It's like, okay, here's what we do really well is speed to lead. Like a lead comes in, we're texting you immediately. Hey, saw you inquired about Indy Clover franchise. You're going to get a call from this number in 60 seconds. Let me know if now's, not a good time. And then a bot will call them, set the appointment, verify that they have all the funds and all of that. So once we have that, it's like, okay, cool. Now we can sell not like a chat bot, but it's really an AI employee. It lives wherever your employee would live, right? Like if it's in Slack and you'd message an employee in Slack or email, it's all of those things. And it can answer all questions like you would answer, like literally what you would ask any appointment setter for any reporting or any workflows or any reschedules or anything. And then, yeah, just moving down, I guess, agent or like business category at a time. And like, cool, now we've automated that. Now let's start selling that as an agent.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that's the way of the world, right? This is those paradigm shifts that are happening, right? And AI is creating these opportunities for those that are getting out in front of it, like yourself, right? And I think it's just going to be a mega opportunity for those that are willing to invest the time and the energy and the resources to get in and become very knowledgeable and figure out what's the right. It's just crazy how it's such a huge opportunity that's there.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing you're focused on growing right now?
I'm really trying to get to full AI autonomy.
That's cool.
It sounds a little crazy, but again, the claim is everything that a human can do on a computer, an AI can do. Well, my entire business is online. So it's really trying to get to AI autonomy. Where I'm at right now, and the closest that I've been getting is you create different agents. I call them different brain or expert skills. So it's like, here's what it means to be an expert in this field. And you make one for like a CEO and a marketing specialist and an AI engineer and what are all of the different aspects of the business. I think I have like 15 or 16 of them. Then I created a skill that will rotate between 3 different models. I use Grok 4.5, Opus right now, Fable 5 is out, and then ChatGPT 5.6 Soul is also amazing. So you have like 3 really high powered, not really, 3 of the 3 most intelligent models, each tackling your business from a different brain. And every 20 minutes they switch seats. So it's like this seat, we're going to go all over our Notion board. This seat, we're going to do all of our meeting transcriptions. We need to read them and make sure everything was executed, whatever. But now you have 3 AIs and they're just always rotating seats, putting on a different agent or a different expert hat on. And then they have a series of autonomous skills. They have to spawn so many sub agents that are then auditing and fixing so many different things. And then they could communicate with each other. And then they also audit the seat before. So if you have Claude audit Claude, it does not that good. If you have Claude spin up a sub agent to audit Claude, it does better. If you have Codex audit Claude, it does way better.
Yeah.
And if you have Grok, anyways, the cross model, because they're trained on different data sets, those like hallucination points, you mitigate most of those. So that's what I'm focusing on. It's like all my prompts are, you guys have all of the recordings for all of my meetings for years, all of my emails, you have all of the skills, we have all of the tools, we have all of the North Star goals. We've done everything right once. Get me to autonomy. And it's just like that's what I'm focusing on. And it's cool. Like 2 days ago, I woke up and my brother, my business partner, is like, hey, you launched this ad, but you know, it's leading to a school community that's not on. And I'm like, I didn't launch that. It was the AI that launched it. It spent $165 on an ad and got 15 leads. And it's like, that's great. 15 leads of people like raising their hand and saying, yeah, I want to buy a franchise, is very cheap relative to what we're doing. And it did that by going to HeyGen and creating an avatar that looks like a human, review the business. It wrote the scripts with the existing skills that we had. But yeah, I'm starting to get like those cool surprises, and it's like, sweet, I'm getting close. But yeah, that's what I'm working on.
What just to switch the script on that a little bit, what unpleasant surprises have you come across
with AI? The first time I started using Grok 3 weeks ago, I was so excited because it's like, it's 6 times faster than your other frontier models. Not as smart now it is with the new update, but 6 times faster. So I was getting tons of work done. Like reinventing my system. I mean, I spent 12 hours in a day and then the next day, like 6 hours. Then I switched over to Claude. I'm just like, man, I rethought my whole system. We made all of these changes and I'm asking Claude, I'm like, okay, pull up these skills that we built. And it's like, none of that was built. It was all hallucinated. So the way that AIs work, if you're working in a cloud environment, like you're working on your phone or on your desktop, but you're not working inside of terminal, like inside of your computer, it can't enforce itself. So you can give it a very beautiful set of skills and a very beautiful set of SOPs, and it will follow it until it gets too long and too complicated. Then it starts interpreting, and there's no way to deterministically say, was it followed, yes or no, unless you do it from your computer through like a terminal or CLI, and you're forcing it with hooks. I didn't know all of that back then. I was just like, you know, it'll work. I'm going to believe it. But a day and a half completely wasted, which was okay because it made me rethink everything twice. And now my system's a lot better for it. But yeah, just like a day and a half of just no work. Me thinking like I was bragging to people on the streets, like, you guys should see Grok. It's so good. No, it was all fake.
That's so. I look back, like I'm obviously a little older, and I look back just at decades of my life, right? And there's no way ever in my life I thought, you know, the jets and spaceships and stuff like that, and here we are with AI was never in the picture of the thing, and it's just so crazy how powerful and what it's just going to be. It already is, but it's going to continue to change the game for anything and everything, in my opinion. What's something that you stopped doing that helped you grow faster?
That's a really good question. What I'm trying to stop doing is trying to stop going horizontal and go more vertical. Like I always have a million different ideas, and now AI is allowing me to explore those ideas way faster and easier. And I'm very glad that my business partner, my brother, knows me and knows that. And he's like, okay, but what's making us money today? You know, and he could kind of always bring me back. But in general, that's been the theme of whatever business I've done, is trying to do too many avenues and really push the sales and the marketing side. And then you play catch up on the operations side, which
that's a tough one. I have a couple of business partners and a couple of other businesses, and I have one that's very, I consider myself a visionary as well, but he is to the 10th degree visionary. And he's a guy that comes from a military background. I'll give a brief story to the audience here, but he comes from a military background, and he was a pretty high ranking guy in the military. So he's used to hey, somebody higher than me, which is a really high up, says we have a problem. I then task everybody to go fix the problem, and then I report the problem back up, right? And he may come up with all the ideas. When he got into the entrepreneurial world, he didn't have that cast of thousands and thousands of sailors underneath him to cast that down. So he's constantly we've got a great idea. Let's go high level. Let's white label it, right? Let's build out these things, put VAs to it, yada, 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 without carrying on the story. And it's like, and then he just throws it over to operations and says, hey, go figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like, that's where the work really begins, is to go figure it out on the operations side. I always told him, we need the dream makers, but to be honest with you, that's easy.
Yeah. It's because also, like, to even get like a really beautiful website, 90% done, 95% done, you can do that now with just a little, like, I have a skill that I'll give it any website. It'll go audit, pull all the colors, pull all the formatting, look at the industry leaders, look at the top 20 websites. What are the top 5 things per website? How could we integrate that? Pull real Google reviews, and all of that's just going to be like one-shotted, right? Yeah. To get that idea though, like, you come up with this beautiful idea and you one prompt it to what you think is 90%, but you're like, no, it's not. Really, all the work is in that last 10% to make the connections work. Yeah. And then it's actually, taking your leads to the correct spot.
Yeah. It's like everything from APIs to, your way. I won't even try to talk smart around the AI stuff, but I just know there's a lot of like specific things you've got to go pull and grab and integrate into that last 10%. Is what you talk about, right?
And what's cool though is, like, legitimately on a weekly basis, they're making big advancements. Yeah. Right now, it's not like earlier today, one prompt, I was talking to my assistant that manages real estate. She works overseas. And I'm like, hey, what are you working on? What do you need help with on AI? She's like, for the showings for these 2 properties, can you make a calendar for you and Brad? And just link it to the show listing with all of the address and whatever. I'll still be the contact. And it was just recording that call. We just took the transcript because I'm always recording everything. This also records me. Yep. I threw it in, and then it takes your cursor, because it wasn't logged into the email that it needed for whatever reason. It lost access, but it has a series of, this is what I do if my first access isn't there. Mm-hmm. And it just takes control of your computer, and it just has a mouse, and it clicks, and then it clicks, and it clicks. And then I came back and I see my calendar overlaid with my brother's calendar, which I didn't give him that. But again, it just knows how to go find all of the information now. So it's getting, but that it wasn't that capable 2 months ago or even a month ago. It's ChatGPT, the Soul version that came out like Thursday of last week. It's just like, oh wow, now it's so much better. Yeah. So if people hearing this are intimidated, it is a lot, but at the same time, you don't need much to get started. I was helping my sister yesterday just because I'm like, just get started. I downloaded I think we did Codex. I don't know if you're doing Codex or Claude. And then it just prompts you, like, as soon as you create an account, you don't do anything. And it just says, like, setup. And it says, summarize my email. So I put summarize my email, and it says, I don't have access to your email. Click here to connect to Gmail. And I clicked, and then I clicked connect to Gmail, and it connected. And I said, read the last 2,000 of my emails, build a profile on how I speak. This was for my sister. Yep. And then create cards, approval cards on all of the unread emails based on that terminology. And then in one shot, it came back and it's like, here's your 19 unread emails, and they're each in cards. And I could select, go with this option. If I wanted to make it shorter, I would select another tab. It would just make everything shorter, or warmer, and it would make it warmer. And then, but it was in her voice after analyzing. It searched for 2,000. It got 1,300 emails, and it built a psychological profile for it, But it's like, you just need 2 or 3 prompts. And then the other thing, it prompted me, like, summarize my last meeting, something in Google Drive. I don't know, like a basic prompt. I just clicked on it, and it says, I don't have access to your Google Drive. Right. It pops up, click here to give me access. It's like, you don't have to go find it. It pops up in that browser. Then I gave it access. Then it built like the whole next, she's a wedding planner. It built the whole design for the next wedding. It's not great, right? But it's way more than would have ever expected.
It cut her at least 50% of her work out, right? Now she's got to go do the other 50%. Yeah, I say that all the time. It's like, well, and again, she's a new user to it, right? So the more she uses it, the more it learns her behaviors and it learns her processes and systems and preferences, like you said. So it'll only get better each time she goes from there. What's a metric or number that you pay closest attention to? And then
in my
maybe your
business,
credits on Claude.
cost per appointment held. That's the biggest KPI that I measure. Because I think it's a good kind of middle ground on like, how much is it costing me to hold an appointment, like a qualified appointment? And with that, I could really measure holistically the appointment setting process from lead to like, recovery of a canceled appointment. All of that is encompassed there. And then it's a good starting mark to then say, okay, for all my closers, how much am I paying? And then how many are you closing? And then I could really, easily get to that total cost per acquisition. But I think that's a truer number for me. And like when I explained a little bit that I switched away from a $5,000 ad retainer to doing it myself. And the first thing that Claude caught was, we're not even measuring cost per appointment. We're just measuring cost per lead, cost per click. But that's all Facebook has access. There was no connection between Facebook and Go High Level. And I didn't know that, because I was paying somebody to do that.
Right.
Claude found it the first freaking day I set it up. I used my brain builder expert skill and I built like a meta ads expert brain. And then I have that, which is basically the agent, come up with a strategy. And then, you just give it the accesses. And now, again, you don't need to go find MCP or API keys and things like that. You just tell Codex, I'm logged into Facebook, figure it out. Okay. And it will literally go click it, or it'll click around. All you have to do is be logged in.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that, but I was gonna say that cost per CPC, right, and things like that we're measuring are just, we do the same thing over here, because obviously, our lead gen is all kinds of capacities, right? It's attending events and paying for sponsor fees, right? It's doing Facebook ads, the whole 9 yards. That's a huge metric to know exactly what your cost per click is, or in the case of just what does it take to acquire a client, like you said. All right. What's a lesson that you've had to learn the hard way?
Operations. You have to do operations, not just sales. So my business experience has been, I did door-to-door sales for a number of years, different products. And that was always the issue as well, because when you're doing door-to-door, depending on the industry, it's like same day pest control or same day security install. And when they get backed up, you get higher cancellations. But so I've always been playing this game of how many can I sell versus how many I could fulfill. I started a solar company in 2020. And the same thing, like outselling the operations, even though we're subbing that out. That was kind of the biggest issue in that company. Ended up working out. We had an exit after 18 months. I moved into, I bought a cookie franchise or a cookie company, and I franchised it to compete with Crumble. It was called Dirty Dough. Same thing. I only had one store, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to franchise this. So I figured out franchising in a year, franchise the business. And then 2 years later, I opened up 100 brick and mortar stores and sold 450 of them. And I was like, that was too fast. Like way, way too fast. We opened up 5 stores a freaking week in different states. I couldn't even go to them. And I'm like, okay, but it was cool and exciting to sell them all. And then it was, fast growth is what I've learned the hard way. Is that's like been my biggest issue with all of my business is I'm usually outselling the operation. So it's like, I need to freaking just,
and it's a hard balance because operations will slow it down, right? Because they want perfection, and sales is like, just go fulfill, right? And then the founders of the company are like, yeah, go sell and fulfill at the same time. But I always say that all the time, right? It's like, it's a symbiotic balance of, it's got to get uncomfortable for operations because they'll slow sales down, but sales has also got to have some guardrails up in some capacity, just historically, because they'll overpromise and underdeliver, right? Because we just sometimes operations can't deliver at the conversations, right, that are had, or the sales that are being put out there, or expectations that are put out there. So I definitely understand that balance.
I do think AI is bridging that gap more and more, because now I'm not asking somebody to build a website for me. I'm doing it because it's my quad. I'm not asking somebody to go build a real estate agent. I just prompt it myself because again, I could explain it to somebody to go explain to their AI, or my AI already knows. I mean, again, I've spent more time than anybody I've encountered on structuring agents correctly. So when you give them a prompt, you can have unlimited memory, as long as the memory, the skills, the tools, everything is being routed correctly before they begin work. And then you're creating specifications, and verifying that it's done correctly. Kind of back to what I was talking about first, like if you're running, you have to be using AI to really be using it effectively. Run it inside of your computer, inside of terminal, so you could force it to do things rather than just hope it relies and follows your prompt, because we've all experienced like it does really good sometimes, but when the prompt's too long, when there's too many steps, it just forgets steps or just does partial steps. But if you're doing it from your computer and you say, before you work, define how we're going to measure success, and then it makes that definition, and then before it finishes, it has to meet that definition of success, or a stop hook says, nope, you have to do it again. And if you don't do it on your computer, it's just not capable of doing that on web-based. With the exception of Codex, the remote, as of like a week ago, they're doing it. But that's the only other way outside of doing it directly inside of the terminal.
Yeah, no, that's really good advice. I was not even aware of that. So let's see. What trends are you paying attention to right now? Maybe even specifically in that AI space?
Yeah, definitely. Every single day, I have what's called the study skill. So it's look at the top 30 videos that were just released, targeting a few different things. One, I have about 40 tools. So it's like I use HeyGen for video editing on sometimes, but Arcads, and then 11 Labs, and then Go High Level. So it's all of the softwares that I have. Are there any releases on a day-to-day basis? So this runs every morning. Are there any releases? And then aside from that, it's searching GitHub for any new skills that AI, and it's following certain people like Karpathy, the OpenAI co-founder, or Claude Code founder, Boris. So every morning it's saying what's been released about our tools, about how we work, and then how can I permanently change the system to benefit from that. So I'm always looking at the tools that I'm using, and then typically though it's XAI, OpenAI, and Anthropic or Claude. Those are the three that I'm paying most attention to. Like, what's the latest models? What are they releasing on how to build skills? Because Anthropic tells you how to build skills for Claude, and Codex does as well. So really trying to capture all of that information. It's all free. You have these, future trillionaires, Karpathy. He doesn't need money. He learns. He wants people to use his product, and same with Boris with Claude Code. So they give you these skill files. They spend hundreds of hours on engineering and how to properly prompt them and how to set up loops. And then they just publish it for free, because where they make their money is you using that free thing, getting value out of it, and then continuing on with the product. So people don't understand that, like, this is SaaS, but it's free. People are just giving it out for free. And it's like, you just need to go find that, and your Claude could go find it if you train it to do it.
Yeah. No, that's very true. And I look kind of, it's almost like back in the day where I'm just going to date my age for sure. So hang on to your hats here. But it was like, back in the day when it was like Microsoft Office, right? I mean, this is a very rudimentary example, but right, Office then went to, online with Google Sheets, right? And all those type of things. And the point is, right, the more value you give, the more opportunity you give, the more training you give, the more just knowledge you give, you buy people into your product, right? And therefore now they're buying upgraded packages, right? All of those things, like you said. And again, what's been really interesting about AI, of course, too, is you pour your soul and your life and you build everything in it. Typically, it's a lot harder to leave that environment, right? It's very difficult. I mean, I'm sure there's some smarter ways to prompt and take your information out of one to the other, but for the most part, right, I would assume, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong here, that was a big thing with like ChatGPT users for a while, right? It's like, I'm never leaving ChatGPT because I started there and I built everything there. But I do know there's some prompting ways that I've gone into Claude and said, hey, I know you're a competitor. How do I?
They're getting like, better at doing that. I mean, I would say, not a big concern, but definitely they will behave differently because their memories differently, unless my advice, again, I've watched all the videos, you have when you prompt your AI, it's going to automatically load one file automatically. If it's Claude, it's called your Claude.md file. If it's Codex, it's called the agents.md file. And you keep that really short. And then you just, I'm like, I don't want to get too complicated in it, but yeah, maybe I'm going to scratch that because that's going to go on forever. I'm like, no,
there's a way to do it.
Scratch that, edit it out.
Got it. You're good. All right. Well, let me hit us on the lightning round since we're pushing right at 25 minutes. Favorite business book?
E-Myth. The
E-Myth, I
E-Myth
like it.
Revisited, yeah.
Best purchase over $10,000.
Probably a Tesla self-driving car.
Nice. I like it. You've got a bunch of them, so I want to hear this one. Favorite AI tool?
Codex by a decent margin, solely because of that remote access. I can get proper behavior across my entire, so it manages Grok and Claude and Codex across both of my computers, because I have 2 Pro Max accounts for each one of those things. And anyways, Codex allows me to just keep one thread, and it will spawn different threads on different devices, manage all the usage. So Codex, for that reason alone.
Makes sense. If I were to open your phone and have it show me how long you spend on apps, what app would show the most time?
YouTube.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of YouTube videos.
That's awesome. I love that. That's I mean, honestly, that's how so many people just get the knowledge that they need, right? It's crazy how much free education's out there for people to use. What's your most impactful habit?
Impactful habit. I'm going to go a little bit more with the philosophy than a habit that influences habits. A few years ago, I went from trying to solve all of my problems externally and in the business. When I sell the next franchise, when I sell the next 10 franchises or 100, when I get the first million, whatever, I realized that was never ending. So the habit is refocusing. I don't have a million problems. I have one problem, and that's me identifying problems. And it's really a game of neurochemistry. It's thoughts and processes. That's the number one objective in life. Business is to support how you feel, which is dictated by your thoughts. So habits are things that help me with that, which, like this morning, sauna, I have a red light thing. I do some meditation, and then I do yoga every day.
That's awesome. What's one thing, I'll be interested to hear your answer on this, because you want to basically automate and delegate as much as you possibly can. What would you never delegate?
Nothing. I mean, I can't. Again, it's, why wouldn't I delegate something? Because it would have to be because I don't trust it. And why don't I trust it? Because I haven't trained it, but I could train it. But the other thing is, every single week I'm prompting it hundreds of times. And every single week it takes all of my prompts. It's called the trail skill, because it's leaving a trail of how we're doing. And then it uses that to reinforce my Bennett decision skill, which is the profile on how I make decisions. So now it has over 4,000 examples of how I prompt AI in different scenarios, and it could calculate those and have a lot more autonomy. So the idea is, I can't see anything I wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's totally sound and fair. The last question I'll ask you, and I think it'll be generated based on your AI expertise. What's your definition of leverage?
Applying less effort for more work.
More output. Yeah.
More output. By applying the pressure intelligently. So with AI, it's infinite, because once you get one of your thought processes into the AI that it could run it, then you could run that infinitely. We're talking, a few tokens, or you download a local model and it's free. And then who's your customer base? You could sell to China, because AI doesn't have a time zone. It doesn't have a language barrier. So you now can go start selling to South Korea and to Iraq and to wherever, and the AI can do that for you.
Yep.
So that's
that's such a huge opportunity. And you're like one of the smarter guys that I've had on here talking at this level of AI. And you could just tell you can speak the language, and just it rolls off your tongue. You're obviously well practiced in it. So excited to hear more. I'd love to have you on again in the future sometime, right? Because this is super interesting to me, for sure. It was beyond the concepts of just business, right? It was very much into the future of what's not only in the future, but what's here today. So if anybody wanted to reach out for any value on any of your franchise opportunities, to do any type of partnership with you, you name it, right? Like, pick your brain on something. What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Yeah, reach out on social media. Bennett Maxwell 35 is the Instagram, and I think the LinkedIn as well. But it's not too. I'm usually up here first, so I'm up there, and I do. if people are interested in understanding how AI helps their business, after explaining this to 1 million people, I put together a free tool. Cool. You answer 12 questions. It's like, type in your website, what industry you're in, what tools, and then it'll say, here's what industry leaders are doing with AI. Here's how you could implement it. It builds your first 3 agents, gives them their identity, their do's, their don'ts, their profile that you could copy paste. And then it builds a podcast. So it'll be like, hey, Mike, I'm going to explain how you could use AI in your industry. So you could just listen to it for 10, 12 minutes on the way to work, and it's free. But yeah, if you reach out to me, I'm happy to shoot you a link and get you over an AI blueprint.
Yeah, same thing here. You always know as an audience, I have so many people that I'm connecting with and networking with over my decades of time, especially in the business world. I always have their information. I'm not the guy that loses their stuff. So I always have contact information. My CRM is 14,000 and growing for a reason. So reach out to me. I can always connect you with you. Anyways, thank you so much for your time today. Bennett, this is super educational, super knowledgeable. I learned a lot. I know our guests will have learned a lot. So thank you again for taking your time today. And we'll wrap this episode up.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.